So who do I thank? Do I thank you or Copilot for my introduction? Thanks for having me today. My name is Ferry, and I come bearing some bad news. Technology is moving really fast, faster than we as a human being can actually keep up with. Also, organizations are having a hard time keeping up with how fast technology is moving. The good news is that this is the perfect time to take a competitive advantage by being more humane. And I've sat here and I listened to the stories and I really enjoy them because I love this end-to-end working, collaborating with each other, finding the human aspects of work rather than just innovating on the technology. That's what my whole mission is about. And why is that so? It's because I used to be a robot. And I don't say that without a reason. Back in 2016, when I wasn't self-employed yet, I was employed by a company that performed sales. And I was added to a team of 7 people, totaling 8. And on my first day of work, I was shown the ropes. And my colleague said, what we do here is we have 2 blocks of 4 people. And in between those 2 blocks is a printer. And in that printer, or with that printer, we print out all the emails that we receive this day, 2016. So we print out quotation requests. And what we do is we type them in our system by hand. So that means products, the number of products that the customer needed, the pricing, the delivery dates, all by hand. And then I was able to email that towards my customer. And once my customer said, I want to make a purchase order, they sent us a purchase order through email. I had to print it out again and then type it out into the system. And what we did is all the paperwork that we had is we stapled it together and put it in a big binder. And at the end of the working week on Friday, we stood above a shredder and we shook out all that paperwork and we shredded it to pieces. So I went to my manager and I said, look, you hired me to take this sales department to the next level. You needed someone to bring it further. This is not bringing anything further. I'm just typing out stuff. I need to talk to clients. I need to understand them. I need to get inside the business of who I'm dealing with. And he said, I fully agree with you, but first get those quotations out and that's going to take you 9 hours out of your day. And after 2.5 months, I said, this is enough for me. This is not human friendly. This is working against technology. So I became a growth hacker. Who here has heard of a growth hacker or what he or she does? Just a couple of hands. What I did as an individual, I didn't work for any specific company, was I used my knowledge of psychology, I combined it with technology, and I combined it with lots and lots of data. And it created money. How did I do it? I used technology to spy on consumers. As a growth hacker, I was just asked to improve websites or customer journeys by any means necessary, which meant that I was able to film behind the scenes of a website, seeing what consumers were doing, how they were doing it, and what they were using the website for. So how they were scrolling and what they were reading. I could also see people fill in forms and not send them to us, but that didn't mean that we didn't have that information. So if you've ever received an email and you thought to yourself, how did they know that I visited their website? It's because we were actually, as a person, looking at your information. And that felt super unethical, and that's the reason why I'm here today. I was sitting in this very McDonald's in a city near Rotterdam, a small city, with my best friend and co-founder by now, and we were talking about this work, because he was also working as a growth hacker. And we said, this doesn't feel right, this doesn't sit right with us. This is not a good way of working. Because if we keep this up, then we're going to just use technology to manipulate consumers and not be human-friendly. And that's not the way we want it to work. So we said there's basically 2 schools of thought. One is that technology is often highly overrated. We often think that technology is already able to replace us. I mean, just look at the fear in people's eyes if I talk about ChatGPT working in customer service. We often think that technology is already just as smart as we are. But also, and especially in HR, you might agree with me, human capital is often underrated, undervalued, underappreciated. It's easy to get rid of a lot of people just to replace them with technology. That's not going to have the same effect. So what we said is it needs to be completely different. Who here has ever had the pleasure to deal with a chatbot on a website? Almost everyone. And who here thought that was a very pleasurable experience? Just a few doubts. No one's really keen on using chatbots. The reason is they are used in the wrong way. I am insured with an insurance company as a person for over 15 years. I've got all my insurances with one company. I mean car, holidays, travel, fire, everything. And I think it was about 5 or 6 years ago, I was in Belgium with my wife and my car broke down. It was a rainy Sunday night, and I needed to be in Rotterdam by Monday morning. I needed to be there. We drove down the mountain and the car broke down. It's like a Netflix series. So I called my insurer and I said, well, I've got this special package of you to come and help me. When my car breaks down, please help me out. So they sent me a tow truck. And within an hour, they called me and they said, did they pick you up and did you arrive at the garage? We were there, and the garage said to me, we need to order a replacement for your car. We need to have specific mechanics that we don't have today, and we will get them on Monday or Tuesday. So I called my insurance again and I said, this is a problem because I need to be in Rotterdam tomorrow morning. They said, it's fine, we have a budget for you. Usually you can use it for a hotel night. You can also use it for a rental car. Just get a taxi to the Netherlands, get the car and drive home. So all said and done, we did. We arrived home safely at like 1:30 in the night. I went to bed, woke up, went to my meeting. It was a success, and they called me back the next afternoon just to ask me if everything went well. Did you arrive safely, and did you find it easy to return the car? Super, super personable. Just 2 years ago, I was going to a football match, and I'm gonna be really careful of gonna name the club. I'm not going to, but I was supposed to go there, but I wasn't able to go. And in the back of my mind, I think there was a clause that said I can back out of a ticket, because it was like 40 or 50 euros. So I thought to myself, why not call my insurance to see if this is actually true, if this is maybe insured for me, because that would be a nice deal. So I went to their website, and I could not find their phone number. It was completely gone. But someone did find me, the chatbot. It said, welcome to our website, how can I help you? So I said, sure, no problem. So I talked to the chatbot and I said, I've got a question about my insurance. I need to go to an event, but I'm unable to go. Is that covered by my insurance? And the robot said, can you please speak in simpler words because I don't understand? So I said, I've got a question about an insurance and the cancellation of an event. And so the chatbot sent me to their sales page. And I got furious, I got pissed off. And I said, I need a phone number. I need to talk to someone with sense. So they gave me a phone number, I called them up, and what I got was a voice bot asking me for my postal code. I'm suppressing it here, but I got a slight accent. It wasn't able to understand me. So what I did was I had to type it in, and after a couple of minutes, I finally spoke to a human being. At least I thought it was a human being, but it was a flesh and blood robot like I used to be. I said, I've got a question about my insurance. There's a football match I want to go to. I can go. Is it covered by my insurance policy? I don't need a big answer, just a potentially yes or no. And she said to me, did you ask the chatbot? So I said, yes, I did, and that's the reason why I'm calling you right now. And she said, well, if you're unsure, why don't you just file a claim, and within 3 months, you'll know if it's granted yes or no. So again, highly overestimating the technology, because a couple of years ago, they were awesome. They had people working there who truly cared about their customers, about me, my car breaking down, and getting home safely. Now they just care about getting me through their system as soon as they can. They are no longer my insurer, by the way. So this is the time to focus on human-centric. And again, I really like the end-to-end approach, focusing on how we can collaborate with each other. Within any organization, really, but especially if you're talking to customers, especially if you want to offer something innovative, different from your competitor. Who here goes to a supermarket often? Of course. Who here likes the self-checkouts? Okay, that's good, because they are improving. The thing is, what now separates one competitor from the other? I used to go to Albert Heijn because they were close to me, but also because they were personable. I liked their store, they were quick, they had fresh produce. And I also went to Jumbo, you probably all know that one. Nowadays, there's no difference between them. Because I knew at Albert Heijn, they had samples, and they had a quick way of working with people and dealing with customers. And Jumbo had the kletskassa, the till where you could talk to the cashier. Now, with the self-checkouts, there's no difference between them. They don't interact with each other. There's no interdepartment working together. There's no collaboration. It's all sameness. For me, in a couple of years, I probably won't care if I go to Albert Heijn or Dirk van den Broek or Jumbo. It's all going to be exactly the same unless they start implementing that human touch. And I call that brand humanizing, humanizing a brand, an organization. And mind you, everything is a brand, not just big corporations, but everything. Your local council is a brand. You as a person, you are a brand, a personal brand. That means that you need to innovate on your brand, on yourself. Developing your skills. We've heard it in the panel as well. Develop as a human being. Not just innovate on the technology side, but innovate as you as a human being. What can you do? And how can you work and collaborate with things like AI? So what skills would you need to collaborate with AI? Because that's a difficult thing. Who here has worked with ChatGPT before? Who here found it difficult to get good answers from ChatGPT? Can you elaborate on why you found that difficult?
Yeah, because you have to be quite specific on the prompts you need, and sometimes you're just not there yet with your own train of thought.
Exactly. So the thing is, if we just use technology as is, it's going to be difficult for us. Because now, for the first time ever, the intelligence is within the technology. It's no longer just a fax machine that sends messages quicker or a phone that can send a text message. Now it's the intelligence. But we need to treat it as a human being almost. If you want to talk to tools like Copilot or ChatGPT, where it's based upon, you need to talk to it as like a human being. If I give you just a tiny bit of information about my company, you're unable to tell what I do on a daily basis. You're just going to give me some general information. But if I give you specific details, where I speak, what type of crowds, what type of events, what type of cities, then the answers that I'm going to get from you are way more specific, just because I filled you up with good data, good intelligence. So we need to see technology as a colleague, not so much as a competitor, but we need to be able to talk to it the right way. So we set up a few skills which will help you, and it would be my honor if you would decide to become brand humanizers. There's nothing to it, just be ethical, please. The thing is that if you want to become a brand humanizer or work as a human being next to technology, it's good to keep in mind your creativity and organizational awareness. It's in the top. That means that understand what organization do I work for? What type of mission do we have? What type of value do we want to add to the clients? And how can I, as an individual, with my skills, add to that? And also understand how you can use your creativity. If you start working with colleagues in different departments, then how can you support each other? You're going to need to think outside of the box. Then programming and automation, and especially AI, you don't need to be a technician. You don't need to be able to program. You don't even need to understand how programming works. But you do need to understand how technology is evolving. Where is it going? Tools like ChatGPT are very popular right now, but it's not going to be the last tool that we can use. How does it work? Where does it store information? How safe is it? And how true are the answers that they are getting? The introduction for me was pretty clear, but it could also be filled with lies. We only know if we can check it by ourselves. So you need to understand how technology is moving and innovating. And then I heard it before, and especially for HR, my wife is an HR business partner, so I kind of know what I'm talking about, but emotional intelligence and ethics, especially the emotional intelligence. Like I said, once the intelligence is within the machines, so when artificial intelligence is here and starts working with us, it's more important to have human intelligence. So understanding other people. Understanding how they work, what they need from you. Put yourself in someone else's shoes and see how they feel and what they think. Not just customers, but colleagues, suppliers, everyone you work with. And then there's human sciences and research. Where do we, as a human being, where do we evolve into? What do customers want? What do clients want from us? What do suppliers need from us? If AI is going to work with us, then how are we going to position ourselves within an organization? Because the main thing, like I said, for brand humanizing is very simple. You have human skills and you have technology skills. And you need to figure out where those two sit within an organization. So the example that I gave from my insurer, it was the other way around. Because they had super intelligent people working there, super passionate about their work, and they replaced them with technology. They should have had technology aid them in giving better answers, quicker answers, taken away the paperwork that they had to do. That would be the best approach for them. And then in the middle, and that's not without reason, and we also use a heart for that, is care. Please, whatever you do, however you innovate, do it from the right intentions. Again, not just getting rid of your customer service employees to save some cost, but please look at where they sit in your organization and how they can collaborate with each other. Who here has heard of a T-shaped skill set? Okay, that's good. So a T-shaped skill set, and we're now moving into, I think it's called a pie-shaped skill set. It's becoming more and more important for any individual within an organization. I don't want to increase the fear for technology or AI, but like again, I said, the intelligence is now within the technology. So that means that we need to separate ourselves and evolve our deep knowledge. The deep knowledge within a skill set is your expertise. So whatever you do best. And the broader you go, the lesser it is your deep knowledge. So if you work in HR, you can have an expertise within HR. For example, legal side, HR or recruitment. That's your deep knowledge. But your broad knowledge is becoming more and more important. That means also understanding how the rest of the organization functions. What are we doing on development? What are we doing on the customer side? How can HR support the customers and the people working with the customers? So the broader your knowledge is, the more important it is to work with AI, and the lesser it is the chance of you being replaced by AI. It's a very simple message. It's a bit more nuanced than that, but this will give you a lot of leverage for the future. So increase your deep knowledge, but also increase your broad knowledge. Understand how the rest of the organization works. How can you as an individual add to your organization or your clients or your suppliers? So to win, you need a long-term strategy. You need to work as a team. Like I said, please don't be afraid of technology. Don't be afraid of AI, but be cautious with it. Understand how it works and how it evolves. Who here dares to guess, for example, for ChatGPT, where they store their information? Does anyone know? Because the answer I often get is it doesn't store information, but it does. It stores its information on servers in the United States, which means that everything you tell ChatGPT is no longer your information. Just knowing that helps you in working together with it. Doesn't mean as an individual you cannot use those types of technology, but it's becoming more and more important to understand how they work. Also as organizations. If you're my former employer, the sales team, it doesn't matter if you have a telex or a fax machine or an email, it doesn't really matter because it's just transmitting information. If you start working with AI, AI is the intelligence and it has the information. So you need to be really aware of how those work. And that's what I meant with innovating on yourself and understanding where AI is going. So what does a collaboration like that look like? Well, you can have a lot of fun with it. I just want to show you a quick clip of myself using AI, the way I use it in business. And after that, I want to go into Q&A, so you can ask me anything you like about AI, brand humanizing, or your work. So here we go. I run a small company, but we push out a lot of content. But I don't want to hire a voiceover for every video that we do. So instead,
I just use AI to clone my voice. I can become anyone I like. I can become female or male.
I can change the tone of my voice, and I can even speak in a different language if I really want to.
Who wants to guess what that last language was? It was French. It was French, yeah. It said, I'm just saying some random stuff, but then in French. Thank you.